9:30 a.m.
The following program is presented by its producer, host, and sponsors.
My friends, it behooves me in the auspices of this regarded medium to present for your consideration and edification this treasured assemblage of veritable musical virtuosity. Dawoud the Renegade Sufi's unprecedented mythological persona and peerless powers of euphonious linguistics, flawless timing, sociological impossibilities, and acts of astonishing scholarship are magnificently ensconced in this offering of musical masterpieces. This cornucopia of idiosyncratic musical treasures is but a single citation from the convocation at hand, congregated and arrayed with all the gaudy trappings of pageantry. My friends, there is nary a single listening hour you will make to grace your doubtless already palatial collection more astutely and with more grandiosity than this resplendent aggregate. Witness my sincere injunction. I beseech thee, tune in, listen. My unborn children implore thee, listen.
Assalamu alaikum and good morning and welcome to the overnight shift on AM 930 WPAT. And if you have not guessed it yet, I am Dawoud, the Renegade Sufi, and I will be with you for 1 hour, bringing you music of a beautiful and arcane nature. And it is Saturday, the very 25th of January, and concurrently the 25th day of the Gregorian calendar year of 2020. Special shout out to the executive producer and grand poobah of this program and the following program, the hour before, Brother William Kareem. Ladies and gentlemen, taking care of business is his middle name. And a special shout out to my good buddy DJ Oh Baby, the Groovy King, who has just brought you 2 hours of beautiful African music from the continent of Africa. And there he is. He's given us a shout out back from down the hall here at the studios of Multicultural Radio Broadcasting Incorporated. And a shout out to my buddy El Haji and Dow. I know you're listening, so shout out to you. And for those of you who want to put your fingers on the pulse of what's happening in the continent of Africa between DJ Oh Baby and El Haji and Dow, whose show will be airing every Saturday night from 10 p.m. into Sunday morning at 4 a.m. You can't go wrong with either of those brothers. In any case, I suppose that I better get to doing the thing that I am here to do, which is bringing you some music. So, without further ado, put on your listening caps, boys and girls. Here it comes. That was Woodstock by Joni Mitchell. A really beautiful piece. I'll never forget the first time that I heard that one, but, well, I can't talk about these things on the air. That's a story for another day. And before that, That's All by Sister Rosetta Tharpe. And I'll tell you something. If you're not hip to who Sister Rosetta Tharpe was, you really are missing out on a big piece of your understanding of music history. Johnny Cash, the country singer, once said that she was his greatest influence and inspiration. Chuck Berry, one of the architects of rock and roll and one of the originators of rock guitar playing, said that his entire career was one big Sister Rosetta Tharpe, Imitation. She was the one who started it all. In fact, she knows not only the singer on that track and on all of her tracks, she was also the lead guitar player. She wrote the book. Well, now that we are in kind of that this vibe, this what's the word I'm looking for? DJ Oh Baby, what's the word I'm looking for? Vibe. He says vibe. He says the same thing that I said. Track. Subhanallah, excuse me. I'm actually fighting a cold right now, ladies and gentlemen. I'm feeling a little under the weather, but I made sure that I was here to do what has to be done. And in keeping with that, let's stay on that track, on that vibe, on that thread, so to speak, and continue to give the Binties some play. And there you have it. Cheney Do by the Pointer Sisters. And you know something? For those of you who don't know what goes on, DJ Oh Baby is still dancing. The music stopped and he's still moving to it. That's what we were doing when this was going on, because I dare any of you to listen to that song for any length of time and not get up and dance. Yep. Or at least to shuffle your feet and or maybe to wiggle yourself around in your chair a little bit. Nod your head to the beat. That was a truly masterful performance on their part. The Pointer Sisters were really something, and always had top-notch musicians in their band. And before that, we had Cassandra Wilson doing a piece that was written by Wayne Shorter when he was with Miles Davis's band. She put some lyrics to it. In fact, this was also the title track of one of Miles' albums. It's called ESP. And of course she did her own personal interpretation of it. In any case, we had 4 pieces that were all by great women musicians, giving the sisters, the Binties, a little bit of center stage here, and very well deserved at that. Now comes the time to play you a couple of songs that have absolutely no place being with each other. But I'm going to put them together for you anyway. So hold on to your hats, hold on to your other parts of your anatomy. Here it comes. And who else could that be but Alice Cooper? The one, the only Alice Cooper. And you know something? There's something interesting about Alice Cooper is that there were people, old school performers and actors and comedians such as George Burns, Mae West, and Groucho Marx, who loved Alice Cooper. In fact, Alice and Groucho Marx became very good friends towards the end of Groucho's life. They were really close friends, and a lot of people didn't get that. And like my parents' generation, they didn't like Alice Cooper one bit. But the thing about people like Groucho Marx is that when they looked at Alice Cooper, they didn't see some freaky, long-haired, noisy rock singer who was screaming and howling and doing unspeakable things on the stage. They saw vaudeville. They looked at him and said, yeah, he's one of us. Because, love him or hate him, you got to admit, Alice Cooper sure knows how to put on a show. And he's still doing it. He's still keeping it up after all these years. Speaking of my parents' generation, before that, we had Hey Good Lookin' by Hank Williams, one of the pioneers of country music. And that one goes out to the memory of Dad and my uncles, and who all loved Hank Williams. And that's for them. In any case, you are tuned in to the overnight shift on AM 930 WPAT, and I am still Dawoud the Renegade Sufi. And no matter how run down or achy or scratchy throat or blasted out sinuses I got, I'm still good old Brother Dawoud, and I am going to be with you for another 20 minutes, after which you will be regaled with the hour before. So you'll want to stay tuned for that. But while I have the microphone and the airwaves, I'm going to bring you some music. Here's a little hip-hop for you. That was a piece called I'm Leaving by a young man that I used to see back in the 90s at a poetry jam in Fort Greene, Brooklyn. It was a thing that happened every week. It was called the Sunday Tea Party. And I went there, and there were some truly extraordinary performers there. And I used to go there and play my music and hone my own skills as a poet. And yes, I do write poetry, but don't worry, I'm not going to recite my poetry on the air. That man that you heard was Most Def. And yeah, he used to come by with all kinds of really interesting things. He just tore it up every time he took the stage. In any case, I've got a little bit more time with you. Here's a piece I've been wanting to play for a while. Let's see what this sounds like. That was one of my favorite guitar players, Kenny Burrell, with the Gil Evans Orchestra, and a piece called Last Night When You Were Young. And before that, arguably, one of the greatest bassists who ever walked the face of the earth, Stanley Clarke, with a piece called The Dancer. Anyway, my friends, I can see by the old clock on the wall that my time is drawing to a close here. But I want to thank you for tuning in, and inshallah I will be with you next week, bringing you an assortment of beautiful, arcane, and unpredictable music in this, the lost art of free-form, genreless radio. And before I bid you adieu and leave you some music, I pray that whoever you are, wherever you are, that you are warm, that you're safe, you're happy, you're healthy, you're with someone you love, and that your cookie jar is filled to the very brim with the cookies of your choice. And here's a piece called All That Jazz That Makes Her Spin by the Orchestra of Mirrored Reflections.